not speak about judiciary. Don't worry. No, today only we'll move into judiciary. Nuchigadi, no. Class wasting. As provided in the, so we don't have any habit of reading the full question, right? Why read the full question in the very first class? This is just a convention. Is it mentioned in Article 157? Tell me. No, it is not. So this is just a convention. In fact, this also is a very popular convention that we use, that the president should consult the CM. Though how frequently does it happen, we don't know. But that's also a convention. This is mentioned in the Constitution. Clearly mentioned under Article 157. So, A, only one. Nana, my money is going. The assent bill is passed. A bill pending in the Rajya Sabha but not passed by Lok Sabha. This is of course wrong, because this bill has been introduced in the Rajya Sabha only, but Lok Sabha has not seen the bill with its dirty eyes, right? So of course one only. Moving on, guys. Elected panchayat will be reconstituted to serve a full term. That is not correct. It never happens. And the assembly shall decide the course of action. That's also not correct. It never happens. Now, do you remember? There are two situations. Number one, the newly elected panchayat will be reconstituted to serve the remainder period. That's possible. Second, if less than 6 months are left, there is no need for elections. Do you remember that now? Now you will do. Yes. Right? So that point ensures what? That this statement is not definitely incorrect. It may be correct. So both these statements can be correct depending on whether the time is 6 months or less or more than 6 months. Right? That is why definitely incorrect. Yes, Karthik. That is why 6 months time is not mentioned, right? So how do we assume? There can be two situations, either this or this. So they cannot definitely be wrong. It would depend. But 1 and 4 are definitely incorrect. Are we clear, everybody? Please watch the video again, where we have explained the election page in your panchayats, and you'll get to know where you are making a mistake. It's just a play of words, basic English. Okay, nothing else. So 1 and 4, B is the right answer. Moving on to the fourth question. So the answer is either A or B. These two can't be the answers. Now, active participation of citizenry. Citizenry means citizens. Citizens. Citizenry. Same thing. This is an essential feature. So this can't be the answer. Hence, B, 3 only is the answer. Clear? Okay. And the last question for the day is what Sabha may by law. Not a compulsory provision. So since not, B, 3 only. Okay. Done. Let's now move on to our discussion for the day. We are discussing part 9A, municipalities. Let me show the leaderboard also. Yes, yes. Basanti Thakur. Who is this Basanti Thakur? Is that a real name? Possible, but yeah. Remind us of Sholay. Rani, Prem, Karthikeyan, Kaustubh, and Shargun. Okay. Just 6 people getting all correct. Then and Lakshmi, Nikhil, Darshan, Rajnandini, Dudegula, Jiva, Tulsi, GS Reddy, Ayush, Taksha, Chandranath, Sivaranjani, Manikandan. SK sir, these tests and leader motive. Why today we'll be discussing about the remaining aspects of municipalities, starting with a very important element, and that element is the uh, bodies available under part 9A. So if you look at part 9, which is panchayats, under part 9 we only have bodies for self governance. That is with respect to the gram sabha, or sorry, gram panchayat, the block panchayat, and the zilla parishad. But at the level of part 9A, now bodies under part 9A, there are two types of bodies. One is the bodies for self governance, the other is bodies for grassroots planning. So self governance we saw yesterday, the municipal corporation, mayor in council, standing committee, all that drama is there. That is self governance. But we also have bodies for grassroots planning. So there are two such bodies called DPC, District Planning Committee, MPC, Metropolitan Planning Committee. So DP, and both of these are constitutional bodies. Article 243, ZD and ZE. Okay. So both of these are constitutional bodies. Now, what are these bodies? Nothing much to discuss here. Very, very simple. DPC has only one task, one and only one task. And what is that? To prepare a draft development plan for the district as a whole. For the whole district, preparing a draft plan on how to improve the condition of the district. It could refer to things like what kind of plan? Spatial planning, number one. Water sharing, environmental conservation, then infrastructure development, planning on infrastructure development, physical and natural resources. All these areas, they prepare a plan and they will submit report. Submit report to whom? Now, if I ask you a question here, that it is a constitutional body, right? And we know very well, every constitutional body submits its report either to president or to governor. So any informed aspirant will simply say, Sir Governor, right? But this is the only exception in the entire constitution because it is mentioned under this article 243 ZD that they submit report not to the governor but to the state government. Now, is that done deliberately or is that done because of some flaw or mistake at the hands of these people who made a change here? We don't know. But this body is a very unique constitutional body which submits its report to the state government and not the governor. I mean, this and the MPC, both these bodies. In fact, UPSC has never asked this question. It's a very tricky question. But some state PCS has asked a question, which is very surprising because state PCS are known for asking pathetic questions, right? I remember there was a state PCS exam. Let's not say which state, but in that state PCS, a question was asked. Mahatma Gandhi's his dead body was being carried by 4 people. 3 names were given. Who was the 4th person? So these kind of questions are asked in the state PCS, and of course, then clearing the examination, becoming a DSP, etc. So could be. And nowadays they have started improving. Nowadays you'll find that the state PCS are actually copying the UPSC pattern a lot, and they have improved their way of asking questions. But still, state PCS questions are more on rote learning and fun facts, like a BQC, the Bonvita quiz contest kind of questions. Okay, moving on now. Just like DPC, we have MPC. MPC is also a constitutional body. Article 243 ZE. To avoid a confusion, let's write here. Article 243 ZE. Right? Now, MPC prepares a plan for the metropolitan area. Simple. They don't do anything. They are preparing a plan on how to improve. They just prepare a plan. Madan, where are they getting capital? For what? What capital? No money. It is just a plan. You don't need money to create a plan. Plan is free of cost, right? Money is required to implement the plan. That is why they also submit the report to the state government, right? The report. They also have the same examples as previous. Clear? Now, DPCs for district, MPCs for a metropolitan area. What is a metropolitan area? Any idea? What type of area is called a metropolitan area? Tell me. Okay. Very good. Area with a population more than 10 lakh. 1 million. 1 million means 10 lakh. Okay. Don't write 10 million. 10 million becomes 1 crore. More than 10 billion. Hooray. That will be hundreds of crores. No, no, no. More than 10 lakh people in an area, that is called metropolitan area. Okay. Now, a small difference between MPC and DPC is the membership. If you observe here, when it comes to DPC, DPC comprises of 2 types of people. One is the elected members of panchayat at district level and of municipalities. So, panchayat members at district panchayat level and municipality members. These people are 4/5 of the total number. Remaining 1/5, the government nominates, right? Clear? So some experts are nominated. It's no expert, some MLA, relative of some minister, etc. They only are appointed. Slight difference when it comes to MPC is the fact that in the case of MPC, firstly, this becomes 2/3 and 1/3. The government nominates experts, and two-thirds are people who are chosen from members of panchayat and chairpersons of panchayat in the district. Chairpersons of panchayat, members of municipalities. So just remember this point in case in prelims a question is asked, though I am highly doubtful that UPSC will ever ask this much of detailed question. They have not asked so far. Okay, that's it. We are done with our discussion on the metro municipalities as well. Solve a couple of questions first and then we'll move forward. Okay. In India, MPC is constituted under the provisions of the Constitution. Yes, of course. There is an article 243ZE. Prepares a draft development plan for the area. Yes, of course. Has the sole responsibility for implementing government sponsored schemes. No, they have no other task. Their only task is to prepare plans for development. That's it. No other task. Why would anybody be given the sole responsibility to implement government schemes? Okay, so A, 1 and 2 only. Shahul Hamid, solving prelims question is easier than your question. Okay. That's why we bleed in the battle. Right now, we sweat in the battle so that we don't bleed in the war. Megha, soul word is confusing. Nothing is confusing. Even if soul was not there, this was still wrong. Okay. They have no such power. The only task is preparing the plan, not implementation. One more question. Shargun, it is my humble request. Please show the leaderboard at the end also. Please, sir. Yes, Shargun. We always show the leaderboard at the end. Don't worry. It will be shown again at the end. Basu, sir, does MCOR have both committees? What is this, Basu? Again, explain the question. What is MCOR? Oh, municipal corporation have both committees. What committees? Uh, okay. The 73rd Amendment Act, which is what? Panchayats, which aims at promoting, it is mentioned there, Panchayati Raj institution, provides for which of the following? DPC. No, this is wrong. Not DPC. DPC is a separate body which is formed under the provisions of 74th Amendment Act. Okay, and SEC, yes. SFC, yes. So 2 and 3, C. Clear? Okay. This is a 12-year-old question. Don't measure the difficulty with this now. Now, problems of urban administration. Basu, no. DPC, MPC are separate. These are separate bodies, no relationship to municipal corporation at all. Now, coming to the problems of urban administration. See, some problems are going to be common. For example, corruption in municipal bodies. So, if at any point of time any one of you has ever been to a municipal corporation's office, you know how non-corrupt people are sitting there. So nice people, such amazing people, never take bribe also, right? I'm sure you know all this, right? I need not tell you that when you get caught by the police on the road, they never ask for bribe, right? So all these things are very clear. At any point of time, if you ever approach the municipal corporation, you'll know very well how nice they are. Then the same thing, excessive government control and poor delegation of 3 Fs. 3 Fs. Which 3 Fs? Tell me quickly. Write in one only. Tehseen, biwi, beti, behan. Tehseen, what are you writing here? 3 Fs. That was 3 Bs. Funds, functions, and functionaries. Funds, functions, and functionaries. Okay. Then, inadequate capacity building of local body functionaries. Same problem. What is capacity building? Training. So, poor training of the local body functionaries. That's also there. Right? Just a sec, guys. Okay, so the capacity building of local body functionaries. That's also a problem. So these are the problems that you'll see both in the panchayats as well as municipalities. But some unique problems which only the municipalities face. And what is that? Unplanned and haphazard urbanization. I mean, barring a few cities, in most cities you go to, you'll find that they are completely unplanned, haphazard. Cities have grown, right? It is just that there's some area, and because it was a city earlier, people started migrating. No special effort was put behind the proper planning of the cities. That is why you see rise of slums, right? Then power shortage, water shortage, then pollution, right? Also, infrastructure is crippled completely. How? Because limited schools, excessive people, limited hospitals, excessive people. I mean, a lot of you saw the situation of the hospitals during the pandemic for the first time. But you can see this problem on any given day if you ever go to a government hospital. In most parts of the country, if you go to a government hospital, it is not going to come as a very unique situation that somebody is lying on the floor because of lack of beds. It is more common than we can think of, right? So it is because the healthcare is limited and there are too many people now. So too many people crippling the very limited infrastructure because it was not meant to support these many people, right? That's why we say that the life of an urban poor is worse than a rural poor. A rural poor is only facing limited problems. Urban poor also faces some other problems. Rising levels of crime, also traffic congestion. I'm sure people who live in cities know very well the traffic congestion, right? Haphazard, random urbanization, nothing planned, right? Completely unorganized. That's why we say the cities are just growing on their own. In fact, you'll be surprised to know that a lot of states did not have an urban affairs ministry also till 20 years ago. No focus at all. No focus at all on the planning of cities. And this is the reality, right? So, all these are part of the larger idea of unplanned urbanization, right? So people from rural areas come to cities for a better life. I mean, money, of course, more money, but better life, that's very subjective, right? So they suffer, 20 people living in a small area and send money back. So it's a very difficult life out there, right? Then absence of an urban way of life. It's a very surprising problem. I'll point out a very interesting thing here. Have you ever observed? I mean, now you'll have elections in the country. Uh, all these newswallas, especially with the rise of YouTube news, they will send their reporters on the ground to ask the people, what are your demands? How will you vote? Who should be the new prime minister? And people start raising very weird concerns. In my street, no lighting is there, right? Somebody, and these are people in cities, Delhi, Bombay, right? When they make these statements that in my city, in my colony, no street light is there. In my area, the drain always overflows. So, will the CM come and do it? Will the PM come and do it? People don't understand that they want the government to do all these things, but they never expect the municipal, your ward councillor, to do all these things. And ward councillors are fully enjoying because nobody expects anything from them. There is no pressure on them to perform. Why? Because people don't even know that it is a task of the municipal corporation. If I have such issues, I should talk to my mayor, talk to the ward councillor, the corporator there, the ward parshad there. So simply writing some post on YouTube say, blaming Narendra Modi or Rahul Gandhi will not work. And surprisingly, this is more common in urban areas. This ignorance. It is believed that when you are more literate, you are more aware. This has not happened in urban areas. In fact, in smaller towns, in rural areas, people are way more aware about these governmental activities. Way more aware. They may not know. They may not know what is the latest trend in fashion, what's the latest designer clothing which new song has been launched, what new Korean cringe-worthy rom-com has dropped in the market. But they are way more aware of all these things, which is very surprising, right? So, absence of urban way of life, despite higher literacy, the awareness is less. And because of this, no pressure on municipalities to perform. Then, one more thing. Ashay, sir, but why they do so after being educated? No, no, sir. You are misusing the word educated. Use literate. Use literate. Don't use educated. Difference. So, education is something that remains when what you have learned in school is forgotten. That's education. So, it's different from what you see as literacy, right? Marked distinction. Then, lack of quality leadership at city level. Now, simple example. Think of this point. Uh, if I ask you here, and all of you here, people who have joined a class for the first time today or are studying polity for the past 10 days only or for the past 3 years, doesn't matter. If I ask you here, name the Prime Minister of India or name 5 Prime Ministers, I'm sure everybody can name at least 4 or 5 Prime Ministers. If I ask you, name your state CM or name 4 or 5 CMs, everybody can name CMs. But if I ask you, name the mayor of your city, a lot of you, not all, a lot of you will not know the name of the mayor of your own city. And forget naming 5 mayors, the current mayor also, right? Or if you are living in a rural area, maybe the sarpanch. So the problem is not your lack of awareness. The problem is that they are the ones who have not truly come across to people as leaders in the city, right? They are the ones who have ensured that this mayor's post, ward councillor's post is what? It's just meant for, it's just a tool, a stepping stone to higher levels in politics. That's it. That is it. So I am not going to contest elections for the ward councillor to perform for my ward area. Nonsense. I want to just showcase to these political parties that see I can win election. Give me the MLA ticket next, minister next, MP ticket next, CM next, PM next, right? So lack of quality leadership at city level because posts are only a stepping stone to higher level in politics. Nothing beyond that, right? And as I said, here also existence of parallel bodies. In fact, the urban areas are institutional jungles, various bodies, overlapping functions. And when you have overlapping functions, then nobody performs the function. Very simple. It's like the same old story that when it comes to the king, there was this king who asked all his subjects, all his people, to put a vessel of milk in the pond. Next day, the king goes to the pond, finds out the entire pond is full of water. Why? Because everybody put in water thinking others are putting in milk. Let me put in water. Same thing. Overlapping functions, nobody performs the functions. Parallel bodies. And politically, the focus is still on rural areas. See, it cannot be denied that politicians work for vote bank. So if 68% people, according to the 2011 census, 68.8% people live in rural areas, of course the focus is on rural areas. I mean, look at your Lakshmikant. You will find in the Lakshmikant only, the chapter Panchayat, they have mentioned so many committees and commissions because the government has set up various committees and commissions on panchayats till 1992. How many commissions on municipalities? You can literally count them on fingers. Forget that. UPSC also asks questions primarily from panchayats, right? The focus is always on these rural areas. And that's why we say that there is this allegation that the 74th Amendment Act, right, this municipalities, is nothing but the same panchayati dish just garnished with municipal sauce. Nothing. Same kind of concept. World over, when this dichotomy of urban and rural is being bridged, India is still following a very strict dichotomy: rural area, urban area. And then we talk about bridging the gap. How will you bridge the gap? Are we treating them distinctly? No, sadly not. The focus is on the rural areas, and there also, what have we done uh, is again best left answered by statistics only. Okay. Uh, so recently I teach a very good lesson to our Supanch. He was not performing duty. I make complaint to Panchayati officer state, and within a week I got results. Okay, great, Prem Kumar. Now coming to the second ARC recommendations here. Sir, why in my ward only the election candidate are female? Maybe the seat is reserved. That is why. Why this anger? It's okay. Let them be females. Why so angry? No problem. Now, second ARC recommendations. See, you'll be surprised to know that in our country, we started with municipal corporation, not panchayats. The first ever municipal corporation in Madras back in 1687, which was finally inaugurated in 1688, right? That's when we had the announcement for the very first municipal corporation in the country, right? And of course, the very famous Lord Ripon, who is known as the father of the local self-government in India, right? He, in 1882, released a very important document on local self-government, right? The Magna Carta of local self-government. We started with corporations, but how far have we succeeded in improving the quality of cities? It's a question to which you can answer very well, considering the current situation in our country. Now, first up, there should be some kind of a commission which can look into improving the functioning, give some recommendations so that those recommendations can be incorporated by the government, and then those recommendations can be uh, taken into consideration, and laws etc can be made, funds can be devolved, the corporations can function accordingly. So the time has come to set up a second national commission on urbanization, because the first one in 1985, it's been a long time now. There should be some kind of National Commission on Urbanization. Okay. Then Members of MPC and DPC, Metropolitan Planning Committee, District Planning Committee, they should be appointed by the SEC, the State Election Commissioner. Then give additional functions to municipalities like school education, public health, traffic management, etc. And mayors should be elected directly, though in lot of states people don't like it. They say why directly? But a directly elected mayor will be held more accountable by the people, will have more authority, because in a democratic setup, somebody chosen by the people commands more respect naturally, right? Then undertaking comprehensive property tax reforms. It's very, very important. Property tax. See, these are the things that the panchayat and municipalities have to raise revenue. Now, land rates or land tax in rural areas is not very high, but in municipalities, this is something that the municipalities depend on. So, what is this property tax? Whenever you buy or sell property, a tax has to be paid to the municipal corporation. Now, simple example. Let's say you purchase a flat. Last time I wrote 2 BHK, somebody asked me what is BHK. Let's say you purchase a flat. Okay. This flat costs 1 crore rupees. Now, let's assume for easy calculation that the property tax on this is 10%. It could be 5-6%, but let's say 10%. This means when you purchase a flat, you pay 1 crore plus extra 10%. That means 10 lakh rupees. But now what do? You are a government employee, and we know what kind of government employee. So you have 40 lakhs cash with you in the form of black money. You approach the builder and tell him, builder, let's do one thing. Take 40 lakh cash, register the property for only 60 lakh rupees. I am paying you 60 plus 40. But on paper, let's get it registered for 60 lakhs only. You can show me this amount. Simple. Now the tax on of 10% is on this, which is how much? 6 lakhs. You have saved 4 lakh rupees on tax. The municipal corporation had to receive 10 lakhs. It received 6 lakh rupees. And your black money is also used. Double benefit for you. Loss for municipal corporation. Less money for them. Less resources. Less drains are clean. Less street lights. Poor quality of roads. And then we'll cry. Country is not developing only. And a bigger point is, say in a society, in an area, if all the flats are going at a rate of 1 crore, 95 lakhs, 1.01 crores, etc., suddenly a flat comes at the 60 lakh rupees price. Don't think the registrar's office, the officers there, they should be red flag. Why is this the case? But no, you grease their palm, you give them some sweet box, not full of sweets, but some other kind of sweets. And that's it. Task is over. Right? So it is always the case. Plus, the government never, because of these problems, the government's rate estimate is always low. Market rate of property is very high. The government rate is very low. They don't even update information properly, keeping in terms with the changing circumstances, property rates, etc. Right? So these need to be improved. Now, some of you sitting here may be working professionals. So every working professional, based on their income criteria, has to pay something called a professional tax. Okay. This tax value, firstly, tax is mentioned under Article 276 for working professionals. This tax value is actually mentioned in the Constitution. Okay. And how much is this? This is currently maximum 2,500 per year, not more than that. So in most of your cases, the salary slip you see it will have some kind of deduction. It could either be 200 rupees per month, or it could be 600 every quarter, whatever. But they cannot deduct more than 2500 per year. That's not possible, right? Now, this limit was last modified in 1988. So, through the 60th Amendment Act 1988, this limit was changed to 2500 from 500. It has been it has been 30 years now, right? Now I think the time has come to change it. But so far, no change, no increase. So there should be the upper ceiling should be revised. In fact, the 14th Finance Commission had said that increase to 12,000 per year, at least. At least. Okay. Then, enhancing fines for civic offenses. What the hell is this civic offense? Example: spitting on the road, crossing the red signal, or we call it what? Jumping the signal. See, these fines that the government collects, the police collects, fines that the police collects can act as a very important revenue source. It does actually. That is why you must be observing sometimes that you go from an area regularly, nothing happens, but suddenly the same route you're going on a ride on a bike, and suddenly a policeman jumps out from the bushes, takes your mobile bike key and runs away from there. Now you keep on chasing him. That's our key please, right? Why does this happen? That on select few days, the police suddenly are very, very active because they have to meet their quarterly target of fine collection. Okay, that's the reason. Now, a very important element here is that increasing fines, of course, more money. Also, people will start following rules more strictly, more sincerely. And that's the beauty of our country, that, we have seen people going to various countries. We, Indians only. We go to other countries. You go to Japan, etc., Singapore. You'll find all the Indians, they follow rules so strictly, so sincerely. But when they come back to our country, when we come back to our country, again the same old story, right? So this is very surprising. So yes, if you increase the fines, maybe it will also deter people from committing such kind of mistakes. But yes, to what extent to increase a fine, that's also something which is very important. Because let's assume the fine for not wearing a helmet is 100 rupees. If this is a fine, everybody will say, oh, I'm a true nationalist, true patriot. Come on, take the fine. If you increase a fine to 1,000 rupees, maybe some people can start saying, no, no, bribe is better. But if you increase a fine to 10,000 rupees for not wearing a helmet, then patriotism dies its natural death immediately. Everybody would prefer paying a bribe only, right? So if you increase a fine too much, there could be a problem of bribes also increasing. So yes, enhancing fines, but not to unreasonable limits. Clear? Madhuri, not every place has that. I know what places you're quoting about, but not every place has these traffic buttons and all. But yes, sir, if fines increase, then there'll be burden on poor. Why, sir? Why burden on poor? Who is asking you to break the law? Right? Who is asking you to break the law in the first case? That's the point. It's like if we are giving harsh punishment, poor will suffer. No, nobody will suffer. Right? The point is that we have ingrained ourselves that no, rules will be broken. Stop breaking the rules. Have you ever seen the traffic signal? And especially if you are sitting or if you are with your bike or car on the front line on the traffic signal, the pressure on you to race your car or bike, right? Immediately. Because the moment the signal turns red, green, people behind will murder you if you don't move quickly, right? So that is there. Yes, Basu. Uh, Pranav, what is this, sir? I believe in situations, my bourbon. Pranav, now this is something that people can do themselves only. For how long can we keep a check? Sudhanshu, but sir, there are chance of corruption also like for 10,000 for helmet, then traffic police demand. That's what I said, Sudhanshu. If we increase the fine too much, there is bound to be increase in bribes also. All these fines, they will go to the municipal corporation. Fines to the state government where they can give a share to municipal corporation. Shubha, how will second point help? MPC, DPC. MPC, DPC, if the SEC members appoint them, a better quality will be there in the MPC, DPC. They can prepare better kind of reports. You'll be surprised to know that these MPC, DPCs, they are not even there in some states. Some states don't even have MPC, DPC, right? Okay. Now, uh, not having MPC, yes, it's a violation. But who will file? Who has the time to file these cases in the court? Yes, Hussain, that is not mentioned. Of course. Municipalities should be encouraged to access capital markets through bonds. So we have seen yesterday also bonds. Now, when it comes to these bonds, various municipal corporations are actually issuing bonds. Amravati, Ahmedabad, Indore, Lucknow, Hyderabad, Surat, Bhopal, various places. So recently, Lucknow, Surat, Bhopal, etc. Okay. Then some bigger municipalities should also be encouraged to run some kind of enterprise to generate revenue. For example, we do have the best bus service in Mumbai. Best is not the quality best. Best stands for Brihan Mumbai Electric Supply and Transport. Don't think it is best in terms of quality. Okay. So various municipalities also run their bus services and all. It's another way to generate revenue as well. Clear? So these are some recommendations that need to be incorporated. Now, if you look at your Lakshmikant, chapter 39, you will find all these things mentioned here. Bonds, yesterday we mentioned bonds, right? No? Vidya, don't remember yesterday bonds? I explained a piece of paper, 100 rupees, 104 rupees, right? So, bonds. More on this in your economics classes, right? So, these are various types of corporations, etc., existing across the country. Not important. Nothing is important here. Like Cantonment Board, it comes under Defense Ministry. Not a single question has ever been asked in the UPSC from this topic. Never ever. Never. Okay. So please ignore it. My advice is ignore these. But if somebody wants to study, you have your books and all, mug up to your heart's content. Who is stopping you from mugging up users' information? Okay. Now, since we are discussing about the revenue, etc., and funds, three Fs, fund is a very important aspect of three Fs. So, the 15 Finance Commission gave recommendations to the central government to give money, and central government has accepted those recommendations. So, what are those recommendations? Firstly, the grants, the total money being given to panchayats and municipalities from 2021 to 2026 is 4.36 lakh crore rupees. Okay. Guys, what is LSG? A Charan, LSG, sir, local self-governance. Sir, some kind of... anyway, why to waste my energy in expecting common sense? So, grants, recommending grants, 4.36 lakh crores have been promised by the center. Money is being devolved also, both to panchayats and municipalities. And a good thing here, both to panchayats and municipalities, out of which 70,000 crore rupees for health. So in the near future, hopefully we'll see an improved situation of healthcare in the rural areas, right? Now, when the money is sent to the panchayats and municipalities, they have to spend 60% money on the schemes and programs made by center and states. 60% money, meaning on drinking water, uh, then things like sanitation, things like rainwater harvesting, etc. But for municipal corporations, the top 50 million plus cities, you have to spend one third to improve the air quality. So in all these bigger cities, a big problem has been air pollution. So you have to spend some money on improving or achieving the ambient air quality based on these identifiable parameters that you have. Remaining two third is again on national priorities, just like this. And now for panchayats and municipalities, 40% funds, 40% remaining funds are untied, meaning the panchayats are free to spend it on things that they want. Or on their own as per their wish. Are we clear? 40% funds are untied now. This figure used to be 7% earlier. 93% money that came to panchayats was the money that was meant for a certain specific scheme. Panchayats and all had no leverage being given. There was no leverage being given, no leeway at all on sending money and asking panchayats, take this, spend on your own, right? So that's a very important jump now. Now, uh, just because we are giving you free money does not mean we have to be careless about it, right? So Of course, see, the criteria for devolution is largely population and then geographical area. But very important. Now, since we are asking you to spend money on your own as per your wishes also, so it's very important that whether you are spending money properly or not and on what all things we need to know. So, mandatory publishing of audit reports in public domain. Online, offline, we don't care. We need to know. If you don't publish the reports, next release of funds will not be done. Clear? So now we are witnessing the linking of grants to what? To publishing of audit reports. This will ensure what? This will ensure there is some sort of accountability in how we spend money at the lower level. Clear? And just to summarize this point here, yes, the devolution has increased drastically. If you think of, say, the per capita allocation, meaning per person per year allocation, back in the 12th Finance Commission, this figure was roughly, I think, 54 rupees on an average. In the 15th Finance Commission, over the course of just 20 years, this figure has increased to 674 rupees now per person. In general, the total annual allocation. So this is the increase of money being sent by the center. Clear on this? Now, let me just end on this note also, that we have seen such promises earlier as well, but we have to be very cautious because amount actually disbursed in the past, it always falls short. For example, for panchayats, roughly 5 to 18% shortfall, and for municipalities, this has been 10 to 18% shortfall, right? Meaning, uh, when the funds are being given, promised rather, say 100 rupees, 100 rupees will never reach the panchayats. Somewhere around 80 to 85 rupees or 90 rupees will reach the panchayat. Some excuse will be given by the government, lack of funds, etc., or they'll delay it simply. So this has been a concern. Let's hope this is not a concern now, and the government delivers on its promise of the allocation. Basu, it is overall, not the untied one. Clear? That's it. Now, just to summarize the importance. Dwepa, I answer. My father is a panchayat officer. He also shares his experience. His seniors are very corrupt. When they are in any meeting, they order tiffin of 50 rupees, but they write 15 reports. This is very common. That is why cash payments always create a problem. Online payments are the best. Right? Okay. Criteria for devolution means what is the criteria based on which in some area funds will be given. So more funds in a highly populated area, more funds in an area which has difficult terrain. So two criteria based on which funds are being allocated. That's it. Now, significance of the local self-governance. So people say it's the best school of democracy. Frankly, it is the best school of democracy. It is where you learn democracy. and it's the bedrock of democracy, base of democracy. It is direct democracy, at least for panchayats, right? In the case of Gram Sabha, people can actually sit and take part in Gram Sabha meetings and talk to their panchayat members, hold them accountable. I mean, it is impossible to think that we can question our MP, MLA. MPs, MLAs travel with so many bodyguards. If you even approach them, they may shoot you, saying threat perception, right? Somehow these things are so natural that authority needs to be respected, not just because they control power, but because they won an election, right? We all know what lines not to cross, but somehow these things where money has to be spent, crores of rupees being spent to conduct events, etc., when the poor is suffering, I mean, but still we say it's okay. I mean, it's very important, right? Somehow we have come to believe that an individual's dignity can be bypassed and can be trampled upon if it comes to the cost of showbazi somehow, right? When did we make that transition? We don't know, but it's all okay now. It's assumed that it's okay. In the same city, these officers live in big bungalows, including you in future, and people are suffering. That's okay. I mean, he cleared an examination. She scored good marks in essay ethics, so she deserves to live in a bungalow. While the 90% people are suffering, no problem. That's okay. So that's there. But anyway, so Gram Sabha, at least a place where people can directly ask questions from their representatives, right? So a direct democracy, because otherwise in a large country, not just India, world over, it's very difficult to have direct democracy. We always have a representative democracy. We choose people, they sit in the parliament and the assemblies and waste time, and make laws, right? So and make laws there, which can be used for our betterment. Okay, that's there. Then it's a more capable form of government, of course, due to the local interest and also local knowledge. And it's a more economical form of government. Cheaper human resources available at the lower level. Cheaper human resource. And we also find that there is sustained vigilance and scrutiny. See, the sense of association with your locality is way higher, way higher. See, we fully agree. We all love the country, we all love our land, etc. But if something is happening in, say, you are living in Kerala and something wrong happens in Assam, you may feel bad for 5 seconds. You'll post something on Instagram or maybe a tweet about something because you want people to know, and I'm also there. That's it. But if something goes wrong in your own locality, that can trouble you more. That's very natural. So this is bound to happen. And because of this, the locals involved here. So there is also sustained vigilance. Okay. Then think of this. If all of you revise properly and come for the class, how easy and smooth the class can be for me also to teach. I will not have to explain full forms. I will not have to explain the points again and again. Go back to think, explaining twice and thrice. Right? Same thing. If at the lower level, the governance is perfect, if the panchayats are flourishing in terms of properly devolved power, performance is up to the mark, trained staff, people's participation, it's all perfect and smooth, it eases the burden on the higher levels also, right? In fact, higher levels constantly make the statement that we can't devolve more funds and functions because the system rural environment is not very conducive to democracy, right? So it also reduces the burden of higher levels of governance. Because see, a system of government at the top can never be successful until and unless it is built on a very strong foundation below. The foundation has to be very strong. Only then can you build a strong building, right? Then, uh, in most cases, the bureaucracy is an outsider. Firstly, in the case of you also, UPSC as well. In the case of UPSC as well, most people here who are attending the class who will get selected eventually, some of you, of course, will get selected. You will not get your home cadre in most cases. You'll get some other state posting only, right? In the state also, there is no guarantee that you will get your own district posting. Now, every small area has its own issues, own concerns, own aspirations, right? Own way of living. Outsiders may not be able to understand the local needs. Who will sensitize them? Who will update them? Who will inform them? Who will apprise them of the locally felt needs? The local people there, right? The panchayat members there. So the it also sensitizes, right? Informs local bureaucracy to local needs. Okay. Then effective local self-governance makes decentralization a reality. So when we say decentralization, meaning we are going to share power with the lower levels, but that can only happen if the local self-governance is effective. If the local self-governance is completely corrupt, nothing is happening there, untrained people completely, then what is the point of sharing power and giving funds? It will, number one, go waste. Number two, end up in the pocket of the elite people of the village. And lastly, the local people there are in a better situation, in a better position to recognize and tap the local talent, the local resources. Otherwise, these local resources and local talent will go wasted completely, right? So that's all as far as the significance or importance is concerned. We are done with the panchayats, extremely important topic. And a good thing is that beyond these PPTs, a question being framed is very difficult. Mug up all the points, problems, and suggestions, and the examples. You are good to go. Are we clear? But the only condition is you have to mug up all the problems and all the solutions. Clear? So this is a requirement, and if it is done, don't worry, you will not skip on questions from panchayats and municipalities. Let's take a question, for example, asked in 2020. The strength and sustenance of local institutions in India has shifted from their formative early phase of what? Functions, functionaries, and funds. Three F's. To the contemporary stage of functionality. How functional are the panchayats? Highlight the critical challenges faced by the local institutions. Again, the same story. Challenges in terms of their functionality in the recent times. Mention all the challenges. Don't mention three F's. Do not mention three F's as a challenge, because it is already there that yes, it is a challenge. Mention other shortcomings, whether it is a sarpanchpati concept, whether it is a rural environment, the social environment, whether it is the infrastructure. Mention all other challenges we have seen, right? 15, 20 we have seen so far. And then we know very well, if you are mentioning some challenge, your conclusion should always have what? Way forward, which means suggestions. Without suggestions, you will only sound like a Hindu columnist, right? Who is out there to find faults in everything. will not appreciate anything. Done? Please write the answer for this question. It's an earnest request, please. Then in 2019, a question was asked. How big a conclusion? Please don't cross the conclusion, maybe this much, but don't make it too big. Prem Kumar, right from the word go, you have been focused on proxy representation only. I have seen this only from you. What happened, sir? Please share. Sir, is there some personal association with this proxy situation that you are facing? Proxy representation, how to take care of that? The members have to be more diligent. Awareness amongst the Gram Sabha. DC, BDO, they have to be more active and report of any such problem or any such issue that is what they see in their own panchayat, that if they see such a thing, there should be maybe a hotline number where you can directly call and say that, see, in this gram panchayat the sarpanch is Miss ABC, but Mr. ABC always comes in the meeting, right? So there is something you can do. Mayank Wadhwani, elaborating. See, guys, I'll tell you a simple way to answer this question. Or any such question. Whenever you have more points to write in the answer, always choose to write more points. Always prefer writing more points than explaining points. Are we clear? More points is more important than explaining points. Please understand this. Clear? So if it comes at a compromise that should I explain or write more points, write more points. It's okay. If you don't explain something in detail, it's okay. But if you are creating a point of your own, then there is no need to, then you have to explain it, because the evaluator will not know your point of view. Standard points you don't need to explain. For example, if I write 3 F's, funds, functions, functionaries, I don't need to explain it. Simple. If I write the problem of proxy candidates, example sarpanch pati or panchayat pati, I don't need to explain it. It's okay, it's understood. Clear? Nisarg, 250 words means. No, I can't answer this. You have to, that is why I said you should see the video I made of answer writing, right? Everybody's handwriting is different. How can we have 2-page answer? That is nothing, there's nothing like 2-page answer. You please write, calculate, and then find out what is your page limit. Okay, now moving on to Madan, write the answer also, right? Now, moving on to this question, again a simple question. The reservation of seats for women in the institutions of local self-government has had a limited impact on the patriarchal character of the Indian political process. Comment. So basically, despite all this reservation happening, we still have had a limited impact on the patriarchal character. So this is something very interesting for UPSC nowadays. They link some topic uh, in say polity, in governance, etc., with the social problem here, which is women empowerment, right? So that is it. So I think this can be written by you, and whenever you are writing any issue pertaining to women, you have to have, Manam, what you are asking is also explained in that particular answer writing session. Did you not attend that session? 3-letter words and more have to be counted. Okay. So till now, when you guys ask me questions on answer writing, basic questions, I generally feel that till now you have not even started writing even one answer. Not even one answer. And you want me to, so basically what is happening here, frankly, this is a reality, that you want me to give you an exact answer of 250 words which you can read and write in your own language. But how will you do this in the examination? You have to put pen down on paper ultimately, right? And see, some of you who are waiting to study, you may also clear the examination, though this is a very wrong strategy, maybe after 5 attempts. So you are wasting your crucial time studying something uselessly without even applying it properly. Answer writing is the key. It is never important how much knowledge you have. Can you reproduce that knowledge on paper in the limited word space and the limited time? That is important. Please write answers. Don't waste time in asking every kind of question. So, what should I write here? How to write this? Write. When you write and send for evaluation, you see the answer, you see your own challenges, you see the problems, and then you'll improve. Right? Answer writing will help you clear the examination. Nothing else. So, yes, as I was saying, in every women's issue, you have to give a concluding suggestion. And what is the concluding suggestion? The 108th Constitutional Amendment Bill 2008. We may skip the year, no problem. What is this? Women's reservation. Did we not discuss this earlier also? Women's reservation in parliament. Yes or no? Somebody is asking, what is this? Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, of course. That's what I said. That, no. This point was mentioned earlier also in a passing reference, but no problem. Okay, so just to mention this point, please always mention this point as your concluding remark, that there is one bill which is still pending, right? Which is still pending when it comes to reservation of seats for women at the parliamentary level, at the legislative assembly level, in the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha. What about this bill? A time has come to get this bill approved. Clear? Yes, Sardar. Write this in every answer where women's issues are concerned, because eventually it's political power that is important, right? Look at all these IAS officers, IPS officers who are ultimately resigning and joining politics because they have realized that you will always be limited by the political leader, because he or she is a real hero. You are the technician working behind the scenes. If a scheme is good, whether you thought it or not, all the bouquets for the minister. If a scheme is bad, all the brickbats for the minister. Right? That's how it is. Okay. Tarun, because all the right answers are mentioned by hundreds of people. No, Mujtaba, that would be a bit too harsh. A bit too harsh. But yeah. Okay. Moving on now. Now coming to the third aspect. We have covered the ground of L. We have covered the ground of E. Legislature, executive. Now judiciary. Okay. Judiciary at three levels: Supreme Court, High Courts, and the subordinate courts. Three levels of judiciary. When it comes to the levels of judiciary, of course, a very important point for you to understand and observe is that we have an integrated judicial system. What is this integrated judicial system? Integrated means subordinate courts, their decisions can be challenged in the High Court. High Court's decisions are challenged in the Supreme Court. It's all integrated. Clear? So now we'll begin our discussion on the Supreme Court, beginning with Part 5, Chapter 4 is Supreme Court, Articles 124 to 147. We'll begin our discussion on Article 124 first. Clause 1, number of judges. We'll just discuss this point and then take a break. Don't worry. So, how many judges? One more thing. Supreme Court of India was established on the 28th of January 1950. Okay. So, if you see any reference to federal court in the Indian Constitution, that is reference to Supreme Court only. Clear? So from 1937 to 50, it was the federal court, and it became the Supreme Court on the 28th of January 1950. Now the first point, how many judges do we have in the Supreme Court? The Constitution says, don't write, relax. The all wrong answers. I'll tell you why. The Constitution says that you will have how many judges? One Chief Justice plus 7 other Supreme Court judges. CJI plus 7. Chief Justice of India plus 7. Now, this number 7 this can be increased by the Parliament bylaw. Parliament bylaw will prescribe the number. By law, simple majority, meaning to increase the number of judges, simple majority is required. So we already have a law. And what is the law? Supreme Court Number of Judges Act 1956. We saw this law as an example somewhere. Which place? Only one correct answer, Girish. No. P. Chandranath. Don't write the chapter Parliament. Don't act smart. Exact point. Just 2 people got the correct answer. We were various things. It's okay. Don't embarrass yourself. Let me answer. It was during the topic passage of bills, financial bill type 2. Okay. Don't write anything else. Random places, random things. It was seen as an example of a financial bill type 2. I hope you remember what is financial bill. Please. Okay. So when you have this law, you keep on amending this law and you keep on increasing the judges. So this law was last modified in 2019, and currently we have a CJI plus, as you all said, 33 Supreme Court judges. This means we have currently 34 as the total sanctioned strength in the Supreme Court. Clear? This is the current situation. Mayank Wadhwani, you tell me, to decrease the power of the Parliament, the Supreme Court and High Court, what kind of majority is required? To decrease the power of Supreme Court, what majority is required? Again, incomplete answer. Okay, Kavana N, only correct. Manikandan, second one. Some of you are mentioning now. Very good. Special majority plus ratification by half of the states. Now, to increase Supreme Court judges, Parliament has to make a law. Come back here. But to increase High Court judges, the President decides. There is no need for any kind of law. The President decides on his own. Are we clear? Meaning the government can simply, through an executive order, increase the number of judges of the High Courts. So, High Courts, what is required? Can be increased by executive order. But to increase the number of judges in Supreme Court, a legislative action is required, meaning a law has to be made. Again, first reading, second reading, third reading, all the drama has to be done, and then only. But for High Courts, simply the central government can say, increase judges, sign this order, President. And as per Article 74, President as a rubber stamp says, yes, done. Number of judges increased. Simple. Solve this extremely difficult question. I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay. So the power to increase the number of judges in the Supreme Court of India is vested in the Parliament. We just saw it in the previous slide only. This one. Here only. Okay. Now appointment. Let's do one thing. Let's take a break. And after a break, we'll come back and discuss the appointment, including the collegium system. Okay. Come back at 7:05. I leave the slide open. Okay. Yes. Break, please, guys. Okay. Article 124, clause 2. So, Article 124, clause 2 states that, please read with me carefully, every judge of the Supreme Court shall be appointed by the President by warrant under hand and seal. What's the meaning of warrant under hand and seal? This warrant under hand and seal basically is a mark of status and respect, nothing else. So basically, President appoints lot of people. Not all the people are personally appointed by the President. It's not as if the President is personally appointing them, right? Meaning, in your appointment letter, the President will not sign. Somebody else signs on behalf of the President. Think of your school days. In your school days, the toppers, their report cards was signed by the principal. But others, your report cards, a stamp was used. Take this, useless fellows. And stamping was done. No respect, no status. Toppers, status. Same thing here. To appoint the judges, the President signs the order himself or herself, and the seal of the President is used. Clear? Now, that's okay. Now comes the real point. After consultation with such judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts also. So while the president appoints a judge, he has to consult the judges of Supreme Court and judges of High Courts. Now you will say, which judges? As the president may deem necessary for the purpose. Whom to consult? The president decides. Are we clear? Whom to consult? The president decides. Okay. Now, a small point and a question rather. What's the meaning of consultation? What do you think? When you say consultation, does it mean the president has to follow the advice of the Supreme Court and High Court judges? Does consultation means binding? Most of you are correct. Some of you are saying yes, I'm not sure why. Consultation is never binding. Consultation is an English word, right? Consultation is not at all binding. Are we clear? Okay. Like you go to a doctor, consult a doctor. Doctor says eat the medicine. You may or may not eat the medicine. Simple. Anyway, just hold this thought of consultation. We'll come to it again. And every judge shall hold office until he attains the age of what? 65 years. How much? 65. What is this 65? This is the age of retirement of the Supreme Court judges. We call it superannuation. Okay? So we know the age of retirement is 65. This is what is mentioned in the Constitution. As far as the appointment is concerned, please understand that when in 1950s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, what used to happen was the judge or the judges of the Supreme Court only, they would send some names and the government would appoint some people from amongst those names only without any problem. Okay. Sometimes the government did not appoint those people. It happened, but very rare. Less than 5% cases. But moving on with what exactly happened. Now in 1982, to be exact, this in 1982, a case came up for hearing, and this case related to the appointment of judges in the high courts, where they have a similar kind of word called consultation. Now, in this SP Gupta case, 1982, it was a 7-judge bench, 7 judges sitting together. SP Gupta was actually a very popular lawyer. He later on became the Advocate General of UP also. So, in the SP Gupta case, this question was asked from Supreme Court. that this word consultation is mentioned. What is mentioned? Consultation. What's the meaning of consultation? When the president is consulting you, my lords, judges, does he have to follow your opinion? In this case, Supreme Court said that see, president is not bound by the opinion of the judges. Consultation is not binding. But the court also said that see, but the consultation must be done. It has to be done. It should be meaningful, it should be purposeful, it should be result oriented, it should be of substance. And also, ordinarily, the president will not ignore the opinion given by judges. And also, when you say consult, the president should not consult only one judge. He should consult a group of judges, right? So consultation ideally with a group of judges. A group of judges is what is known as a collegium of judges. College, group of people. Collegium, group of judges. Collegium of judges. Which judges? See, that is left for the president, right? Which judges to consult? Sorry, president, he or she has a better judgment. Why should we make this kind of statement? That's what the court said. Fair enough, no problem. Pretty nice is judgment, frankly, where the court said that see, consultation is not binding, but ideally you should consult and consult properly and consult a group of judges. A single judge can be biased. Now, again in 1993, the same matter came up that you are saying consult group of judges. Is the consultation really just optional? What if the group of judges tell the president appoint this person and the president says no? What exactly is the meaning of consultation? See, here the Supreme Court had a change of heart completely. Supreme Court changed the meaning of a word only. Supreme Court here says consultation means concurrence. Binding. Binding. So the president has to appoint those people that we tell you to appoint. Firstly, the meaning of consultation was changed. And then here the Supreme Court said consult whom? Not any judge. Sorry. CJI plus 2 senior most Supreme Court judges only. You cannot consult anyone randomly. No, 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 no. Sorry. You have to consult 3 people and these 3 people only. This is what for the first time created the concept of collegium. Though collegium's origin can be traced here, but it was firmly established in the second judge's case. Now, why is this called the first judge's case? Because this case or all these cases related to the appointment of judges. Hence, they are popularly known as judges' cases. Are we clear? There is no hidden or underlying meaning except this. That is why they are called judges' cases. First judge's case, second judge's case, third judge's case, fourth judge's case. Are we clear? Are we clear, everybody, so far? So please be with me on this. But after a few years, again this concern came up that you are saying consult 3 judges. Is the same consultation required to appoint Supreme Court judges? Same judges to consult High Court judges appointment also? How to transfer High Court judges? There are various things to do. Who to consult and when to consult? How to consult? Please, Supreme Court, clarify. Supreme Court is the interpreter of the Constitution. Hence, in the third judge's case, the entire concept of collegium was finalized. In this case only, we saw the setting up of a detailed process of appointment, and as it is used currently. And it is this judgment, the third judge's case, where we have finalized the collegium system, which is used even today. Clear? So what is this collegium process? Guys, ignore this first statement. We'll discuss this later on. You'll understand that what is the meaning. Just think of this as third judge's case only. Don't get into detail of what is mentioned here. Clear? So this is the collegium system. Let me explain one by one what exactly is the way to appoint a judge. First up, very, very important. Now, please don't expect me to repeat things again and again. It may not be possible. So I will explain it very, very slowly. Garima, explain third judge's case. What is there to explain here? I don't understand. In the third judge's case, the judges gave a judgment mentioning details of how to appoint the judges. That is what we'll discuss now. Okay? Done, Garima? Or still a doubt? So now we'll see what exactly is the concept of collegium. See, first things first. The Chief Justice of India will always be the senior most Supreme Court judge. Are we clear? Point number one, it is going to be automatic. The senior most Supreme Court judge is going to be the what? CJI, Chief Justice of India. Clear? Okay. Now, one more point I'd like to make mention here is on seniority. Who is a senior in Supreme Court? Whoever gets appointed earlier becomes a senior. Age is not seniority. Am I clear to everybody? Age is not seniority. If you joined Supreme Court before as a judge, you are a senior despite being a younger person in age, just like your UPSC. If somebody at the age of 25 clears the examination today and somebody of the age 30 clears examination next year, the person who cleared the examination today will be a senior. I hope this point is understood by everybody. There should be no confusion. Okay? Now, please don't ask the full form of CJI because it is irritating. Right? There should be a limit to what kind of question you pose. Chief Justice of India. If you're not paying attention, it's okay to switch off the class and sit in your house peacefully. Watch the recording later on. But pay attention. Now, senior most judge is the CJI automatic. At any point of time, if the CJI retires, the next person who is the senior most becomes CJI. This is going to be automatic now. That's what Supreme Court has said. Now, how do you appoint Supreme Court judge? SC, Supreme Court judge. See, the formal appointment, the order is signed by the president only. Whether you're appointing a Supreme Court judge or you're appointing a High Court judge. Clear? Now, whenever you have to appoint a Supreme Court judge, the president needs to consult and follow the opinion of 5 people: the CJI, the Chief Justice of India, and 4 Supreme Court judges. 1 plus 4, 5. Which 4? Of course, the senior most 4. So, this is the example. You don't have to mug up this. They'll keep on changing depending on the year, etc. So, don't mug up names. I'm just giving an example. Look at this here. This is Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. He's a CJI. Now look at this. DOB stands for date of birth. 1959 this fellow is born. Justice S.K. Kaul. He is born in 1958. Who is elder? Of course he's elder. But look at DOA. What is DOA? The date of appointment. Now, Dr. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud was appointed to the Supreme Court on which day? 13th of May, 2016. S.K. Kaul was elevated to Supreme Court on which date? 17th of Feb, 2017. This person came earlier and hence became a senior and hence is the Chief Justice of India. Next person in seniority is S.K. Kaul because he was appointed in 2017. Next person in seniority is Justice Khanna because he was appointed in 2019, and so on and so forth. This is the list of 5 senior most Supreme Court judges. Are we clear, everyone? So whenever the person Pooja, again, age of CJI retirement. We just saw the retirement, 65 years. What are we doing here? Now, whenever the president has to appoint, guys, I will explain everything. So don't ask any questions in between. It will only disrupt your flow and my flow. Just follow carefully, right? Now, whenever a judge has to be appointed, these 5 people will sit together and give their opinion in writing. It is mandatory. It is mandatory. The recommendation is given in writing that President, we want you to appoint this person, Justice ABC, as a judge of the Supreme Court. Clear? Now, when 5 people are sitting there is bound to be a problem. Maybe some person does not like the name being recommended. So, what is the majority required? Here, firstly, always remember that Chief Justice of India, CJI, has veto power. Meaning, if CJI says no to a name, that name cannot be recommended only. So, you have to be in the good books of CJI. Are we clear? You have to be in the good books of CJI. Simple. If CJI says no, that name will not be sent for recommendation. But it can be a case that one judge may be against you. That is no problem. 2 judges should not be against you. Okay? at least 4 judges, and that would mean including CJI must forward or recommend the name. Are we clear? So at least 4 judges have to recommend. If all 5 recommend, very good. If 4 recommend also, one is very angry. Why are you appointing him? 20 years ago, he did not give me a pencil in the class. I hate him. That's your personal problem. If 4 agree, it's okay. Now, one small point here. No time frame for the president to appoint. Of course, this is the power of the government, not the president. So when that proposal comes from the judges that president, please appoint this person, the president is not bound to appoint them today only or tomorrow only, or in 5 days or 10 days or a month or 10 months. Are we clear, everyone? So this is one way in which the government tries to, interfere in the appointments. But all they can do is cause a delay. Ultimately, if the Supreme Court keeps on sending the same name, you have to appoint. What to do, right? For how long can you delay? But delay can be caused. This is how you appoint a chief judge in the Supreme Court. Clear, everybody? No doubts? A small point. Let me ask you a question and let's see how attentive you are. See this DOR. Any informed person who is attentive in the class would know that if this is appointment, this would mean retirement. But only if you are being attentive. But anyway, now you know this is the date of retirement. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud is going to retire in the year 2024 on the 10th of November. Please tell me who is going to be the next Chief Justice of India. Let's see. Let's take a poll. 10 seconds. Please mark A if you say Sanjay Kishan Kaul becomes the next Chief Justice. Please mark B if you say somebody else. Who will become the next Chief Justice? Oh, the right answer is Justice Sanjeev Khanna. Why? I won't explain this topic point again. It is just a very generic kind of thing. It will not be asked in the examination. But common sense. This is a reasoning kind of thing, not a polity question, reasoning question. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud will continue to be a Chief Justice till 2024. Yes or no? Are we okay with this? Now, Justice S.K. Kaul will retire this year only. On the 25th of December, when you are going to enjoy your Christmas, he will retire. So how can he ever become the Chief Justice of India? Because even on the date of retirement, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud is going to be his senior, who is a CGI. Yes or no? Now he retires. He is gone from the court. In the year 2024, since he is not there, now this person comes here at number 2. Yes or no? Now, Justice Khanna will retire in 2025, meaning on the date of retirement of Justice Chandrachud, Sanjeev Khanna becomes the next senior judge. Did you understand? That is why he will be the next CJI. Clear? In the same manner, you can find others also. And if the date of appointment of two judges is the same, whoever took the oath before becomes the senior judge. Are we clear? Everybody? Okay. So this is the appointment of the Chief Justice of India and the judges of the Supreme Court, mentioned here very clearly everything. Second, how to appoint High Court judge. Again, here also the appointment is done by the president only, not the governor. It's the president. How to appoint? Same thing, recommendation in writing. CGI has the veto power. This is standard everywhere. But this time we don't have 5, but only 3 judges. So this is the High Court Collegium. Okay. Top 3, same people only. 1, 2, 3 here for High Court. For Supreme Court, top 5. Difference. Same story, no difference whatsoever. Here it has to be 2:1, but CGI has to approve. Okay. At least 2 judges, including CJI, must forward the name. And here also, no time frame for president to appoint. Okay. This is how High Court judges are appointed. These 3 people will send a name and the president appoints the people there. Finally, coming to transferring judges. Now, how to transfer Supreme Court judges? Tell me. How to transfer Supreme Court judges? Supreme Court judges can't be transferred only because there is only one Supreme Court. Okay? So, we can transfer only High Court judges from one High Court to another. This word TFR is transfer. Transfer. Now, when it comes to these judges, again, we are back to the same 5 collegium, meaning these people will transfer and they will be consulted. Their opinion is not binding, just consulted. Who are these people? CJ is the Chief Justice, High Court, incoming and outgoing. I will explain this. Please pay attention. Now, take an example. There is a judge Justice ABC. This judge is currently in, say, Patna High Court. Okay. You want to transfer him to, say, Bombay High Court. How will this transfer be done? 5 people, these same 5 people will sit together and decide on the transfer. Okay. And they will also ask the Chief Justice of the Patna High Court that, listen, Chief Justice, we are going to take a judge away from here and send him somewhere. Does he have a lot of important pending cases? Should we transfer him? What do you think? So this Chief Justice here becomes the outgoing, meaning from the court where the judge is being transferred out, outgoing Chief Justice. And they will also consult the Chief Justice incoming, meaning to which court is this judge coming into. So they'll also ask the Bombay High Court Chief Justice that we are sending a person there. Do you want this person? The Bombay High Court Chief Justice says, yes, yes, sir, send him. Very nice person. Or he may say, no, sir, don't send that fellow. I hate him. The collegium says, we don't care. We are sending him. Because it's just consultation, not binding. Are we clear? And for the enthusiastic people who want to ask a question that, or who may have typed, I'm sure, what about if you are transferring Chief Justice only? Then of course, you don't ask anyone. These 5 people do it on their own. Are we clear now on the entire concept of collegium, or is still there some doubt? Divya, apex court means Supreme Court only. Apex is an English word. It is not reference to any court. Apex authority, topmost authority. Okay. Pranav, if CJI has veto power, can he not override the veto power is only on a negative vote. He cannot override other 2 judges. Swarufuddin, what if High Court CJ says no? You tell me, sir. What if High Court judge says no? You tell me. What happens? Others, can you please respond? If the Chief Justice of Patna High Court says don't transfer, what happens? Will the transfer take place? Of course it will take place. If this collegium has decided, it will be done. Will be consulted only. Consultation. Are we clear? See, why are these people consulted? It's a very logical thing to do. The CJ, the Chief Justice of a High Court, has a very important task to manage the entire High Court, allocating cases to every judge, etc. So it's very important to consult him. What if this judge, Justice ABC, is presiding over very important cases? Randomly transferring him could cause a delay. So the Supreme Court Collegium also understands that we cannot randomly transfer people, right? So they will ask the person, ask the Chief Justice, tell him don't give him any new cases. Next 2-3 months, take away all the cases slowly, and we'll transfer him. This is how things are done logically. But in an extreme case also, even if the CJ says, no, no, sir, please don't transfer. We are best friends. We eat the lunch together. We share the tiffin box. Please, sir, we don't care. Transfer done. Are we clear? Okay, that's it. We are done with the collegium system. Okay. Now, somebody I think has asked this question that if the CGI wants to appoint some judge, other judges don't want to appoint. then what happens? Please tell me. What happens? Will the person be appointed? Will not be appointed. We need at least 4 judges to. Bhai, simple English can't be read by a few of you. How is it happening? How? The exam you're going to take is going to be in English. 4 judges have to say yes. In these 4, CGI must be there. CGI can prevent your appointment. He alone cannot go for the appointment. Are we clear? That's why I said the veto power is in negating an appointment. Done? Okay. Shahul Hamid, your question is illogical. Top judges are always advocates. Where do you get this idea from? If nobody agrees, but if nobody has agreed, Karthik, then why will the name be discussed even? Now somebody asks, Ritika, if only CGI rejects, but other 4 approve, then tell me what happens, guys. Tell me. If CGI rejects the name and all other 4 are crying and saying, please, please appoint, what happens? No appointment. Of course, because CGI has to be there. Are we clear? Okay. I think enough of the collegium. This has been discussed. You can see the video over and over and over again till you understand or till UPSC exam comes. Now, please understand one more point here. What you have witnessed right now is a very centralized system. Just 5 people taking all the decisions. What do you think? Now, why will I make this point? I want to ask you only. Do you think this appointment process is very fair? The first thing. There are some genuine concerns with the appointment process. Let's discuss those concerns. Critique. Let's criticize a bit. Imagine you are writing an answer in the UPSC examination hall. Once you have written the answer and you're about to leave by submitting your answer, the invigilator says, wait, sit, everybody sit. Now check your answers. On our own. Yes, on your own. How many marks will you give in your answer? Of course, 250 out of 250. Somebody may give 251 also for exceptional handwriting. We don't know. Right? This is the exact same scenario. Judges appointing judges. Right? Firstly, process is opaque. Meaning, what is opaque? Again, an English word. Don't ask me, sir, what is the meaning of opaque? The process is opaque, not at all see through. What is a process? Because in one case, Supreme Court had said, when asked, what is the criteria? How do you make recommendations? Supreme Court said, and you'll be surprised at this, the judge should be fit to be a Supreme Court judge. Yes. Fit to be Supreme Court judge. That's the criteria. Imagine UPSC this year comes up with a list. These are the list of 1,000 people we have chosen. 180 IAS officers this year. These are fit to be IAS officers. No exam. When we saw those people, we said IAS officer. Fit to be IAS officer. Opaque means transparent. No, Siva Krishna. It's the opposite. So here, there is no criteria to appoint the judge. Then there is also allegation of favoritism and biasness. That there is a big allegation of nepotism in the judiciary. We are also upset with nepotism in cinema, which is the silliest thing that you can say. I mean, it is just like saying that when it comes to the local shopkeeper in your colony, that local shopkeeper, his son has now started sitting on the in the shop. This is wrong. Nepotism. Why his son will sit in the shop? Outsiders should be given a chance. This is so silly. In cinema, if a producer wants a person to be a part of the film, it's their choice. It's their own money, right? Nepotism, where it actually is there, there we don't raise any concern. Judiciary, right? Governance. So the problem here is we have found that there are certain families and certain categories and certain classes which have hijacked all the positions. The point is, now I am not going to make any allegation here. Let me clarify. This is not an allegation. But see, justice should be done. It should also be seen to have been done. It's very important. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. Sorry, let's start with the ascending order. Justice Y.V. Chandrachud. He was a Chief Justice of India, longest serving Chief Justice in the 1970s. Justice Y.V. Chandrachud made a recommendation to elevate to the Supreme Court a judge called Justice B.N. Kirpal. When B.N. Kirpal was a judge in the collegium, he made recommendation to appoint D.Y. Chandrachud as a High Court judge at a very, very young age. Very young age. D.Y. Chandrachud is the son of Y.V. Chandrachud. D.Y. Chandrachud recently was vociferously supporting the recommendation appointment of Saurabh Kirpal as a Supreme Court judge. This person is a son of B.N. Kirpal. Can you see this chain? Maybe they are all very intellectual people. Who knows? Who are we to judge? But if any layman sees all this, what will he feel? That your father appointed me, I am appointing you, you appoint my son, they'll appoint your grandson, and this process continues. Quid pro quo. That's why I said justice is very important, but it is being done. It should be seen that it is actually being done. Perception is also very important, right? So this is the case. Then it results in huge vacancies. You'll be surprised that currently in high courts there is 30% vacancies. 30%. 340 seats are vacant in high courts. Out of 1,114 judges, 340 seats are vacant. This is the situation in the high courts. Why? Look at the collegium. 3 people making recommendations. These 3 people are a part here also, are a part here also. These 3 people are judges in Supreme Court also. They have to sit and give judgments also. They have to study also. How will they manage all these things? Look at your UPSC. UPSC takes almost 2-3 months to conduct interviews and choose to select some people, where it has multiple panels of interviewers, interview boards, with the only task from morning to evening to conduct interviews, right? And it takes 2.5 months. These judges have multiple roles to play. In fact, their primary role is to give judgments in Supreme Court. So of course they have no time, lack of time completely, due to lack of time. One more thing, it also impacts federalism. How? We have a misconception that high courts are subservient to Supreme Court. No. It is because we have an integrated judiciary and the Supreme Court is the final court of appeal that the cases can be challenged in the Supreme Court. But Supreme Court cannot issue writs to the High Court and vice versa. High Court has the right to run its own house properly. Now tell me, the High Court judge, I'm a High Court judge. I know very well my elevation, my promotion to Supreme Court depends on what? The collegium. These 5 people, I have to somehow win their heart, come into their notice somehow. So, don't you think I'll be currying favors for them? Firstly, I'll get their number, send them good morning text every day, some quotation. Very nice judge. Nice joke, sir. I laugh at their jokes also. Pass daily remarks. Amazing. What dressing sense. Genius. What hairstyle. Genius. Amazing. What language. And even worse, if these judges, their sons, their daughters, let's say somebody, some collegium judge's son or daughter has come in front of me, is a lawyer in front of me fighting a case. I know very well that this fellow is the son or daughter of a collegium judge. I have to impress them. I will never criticize a person. I'll say, beta, you are genius. You come and sit here. You are a better judge than me. What are you saying? I just want to curry favors and get in the good books of the what? Collegium. Are we clear? So this is why it also impacts federalism, because it impacts the judicial structure in our country, where the High Court judge has become completely subservient to the Supreme Court collegium. They are the my bap, they are everything now to every judge. Now, let's look at the article. This is the article in the Indian Constitution. This is what is mentioned in the Indian Constitution. Judge of Supreme Court shall be appointed by the President in consultation with judges of Supreme Court and High Courts. Supreme Court has interpreted all this to mean all this. Is this interpretation? By interpretation has a limit. How can you interpret this to mean all of this? This grand detail? CGI has a veto power, recommendation in writing, 4:1, 5:0. If you are transferring 5 people, High Court 3 people, what is this? What is mentioned here? So this does not seem like interpretation. It seems like you have completely rewritten the entire article only in your own language. Amounts to rewriting the Constitution. They have not limited themselves to just interpretation. And one more thing, this kind of appointment is not there in any kind of country which follows an independent judicial structure. You go to UK, that's not the case. You go to USA, that's not the case. In no modern democracy you will find that judiciary has monopolized all the appointments, completely liberated itself, free from any external control. That's a unique case in a written constitution like India, which is there. Now, let's come back a bit to the judge's case. Now, once this SP Gupta case was or came to light rather, in the 1980s, a law commission was set up. Now, that law commission's task was to give recommendation that what can be done to appoint judges. So, 121st Law Commission report came out in 1987. And that particular report gave a suggestion to set up something called a National Judicial Commission. Now, this National Judicial Commission was to be set up to make recommendations for appointing judges. A bill was also brought, 67th Amendment Bill, but the government collapsed and the elections happened and then the bill was sidelined. It lapsed. Nothing could happen. in 2014, this government again revived that very old report. So for a lot of you, you'd be surprised that this origin of this concept can be traced to the 121st Law Commission report. Okay, this was the original concept of a judicial commission. Let me write the year also, 1987. Anyway, so this time the government amended the constitution and passed what we knew as the 99th Amendment Act, 99th Amendment Act 2014, where 3 articles were added: 124 capital A, capital B, and capital C. This article said that we have to create a body, an independent body called NJAC. What is NJAC? The full form is mentioned here only. So before you jump and type what is NJAC, please read properly. Okay, the National Judicial Appointments Commission, NJAC. This body, the task of this body is going to be functions: make recommendations to the president to appoint CJI. CJI also, nothing is automatic. Chief Justice of the High Courts and the judges of Supreme Court and the judges of High Courts. Also transfer of High Court judges. So basically, everything that the collegium does would be done by the NJAC. Now, who will be the member of this NJAC? Members. NJAC is going to be a 6-member body. 6-member body. CJI, the chairperson. 2 other senior most judges. So top 3 judges are taken. Law minister. Now he is the executive here, the government person. And 2 eminent people. Now who is an eminent person? Eminent means anybody having lot of knowledge, etc., in any special field is called an eminent person. Somebody who is very famous in a particular domain. Eminent person. Not defined, but eminent persons. Now these 2 eminent persons were to be chosen by a group comprising of, look at this, Prime Minister, CJI, and the leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha. Are we clear? This group. So it's a pretty decent independent kind of group also. There were 2 conditions. Two conditions. Condition number 1. No veto power for anyone. No veto for any member. Nobody will enjoy any veto power. Second thing, in this particular commission of 6 people, if 2 people oppose, that name will not be forwarded. If 2 members of NJAC oppose, the name will not be recommended. Are we clear on this? These were the 2 conditions. Just like collegium has the concept of 4:1, here it was 4:2. So 5:1. Either 5 or all 6 people have to recommend. If 2 people say no, not that person, that name is cancelled. Sorry. Clear? This was the NJAC. Now, of course, so I also agree that having the law minister here is a problem, because when this commission will meet regularly, the CJI and the judges will interact with the law minister, creating a sort of a camaraderie, bonhomie, etc. We don't want that. Because if you go to Supreme Court, half the cases in Supreme Court, the government is one party, one litigant. So we need the government to be completely separate from the court. But then the court did not find an alternative. It simply struck the entire thing down, declaring it as unconstitutional. Various reasons. Of course, this was a reason that why do you have the executive here? Who are these eminent persons? No criteria. And why CGI has not been given veto power? As if CGI's birthright is to have veto power. Where does the constitution say that CGI should have veto power? So, no veto for CGI, including the executive, the law minister. This is okay. But eminent persons could have been defined. Maybe retired judges, anybody. So, without trying to find a solution, they simply cancelled. Are we clear? And Supreme Court said that because of all these things, the independence of judiciary is being compromised. Which means what? Which means that the basic structure of our constitution is being violated. So Supreme Court in one judgment has said, we'll discuss that later on in the fundamental rights, that you can amend everything except those points or those articles or those provisions or those elements which are a part of basic structure. And Supreme Court only defines what is basic structure. So they have said that this basic structure of independence of judiciary must be followed, come what may. So if you try to tamper with the independence of judiciary, we'll cancel that amendment. Cancelled. This is the fourth judge's case, popularly called the fourth judge's case for cancelling the 99th Amendment Act. See, again, who am I to pass any kind of judgment here? But I want to give you some data. Facts are very important, right? Facts without feelings. Very important. Because feeling without facts make no sense. Supreme Court has always been very critical, especially in the recent times, has been very critical that, you know, India does not appreciate the downtrodden, minorities are suffering, right? Recently, an interview was conducted by some YouTuber of this politician from Jammu and Kashmir, and he said that the minorities are suffering. Recently, a very erudite person, an intellectual, wrote an article in the newspaper Indian Express about how the caste divide is there. Yes, we understand, and we are trying to eradicate that. It's a slow process. We have brought in affirmative action, reservation, etc. We are taking care of it. But since Supreme Court gives us all these lectures regularly on how backward our civilization is, the essence is always conservative in nature, etc. Maybe Supreme Court, its own house, is very progressive. That's possible, right? Because you can give gyan only when you are very progressive, right? Let's take a look at the diversity in Supreme Court. Because Supreme Court always says that in politics, look at the MPs in Lok Sabha. How many women MPs? Only 15%. Very good. Number of women judges, female judges. I am giving you figures since 1950. Are we clear? Since 1950. Out of total 268 judges till date appointed in Supreme Court, including the current judges, how many have been women? 11. That is 4.1%. Of the total judges in Supreme Court, 4% have been women. No woman CGI so far. Not a single woman has ever become a Chief Justice of India. We'll have a Chief Justice of India, Justice B.V. Nagaratna, will become a Chief Justice, first woman in 2027 for 36 long days. In October 27, she'll become the Chief Justice for 36 days. Justice B.V. Nagaratna, she belongs to a family of judges. Her father is also a former Chief Justice of India. Let's not forget that. Okay? And secondly, she belongs to a Brahmin family. Why I said that, I'll come to it shortly. Second thing, so in our country, minorities, Muslims are suffering. So Supreme Court has ensured diversity. Muslim judges so far, 19 out of 268. That's roughly 7%. Scheduled caste judges, 5. That's it. 5 so far. That's 2%. Scheduled tribe judges, only 1 scheduled tribe judge, H.K. Seema, who later on became the chairperson of the UP Human Rights Commission. Now, we have had 50 Chief Justice of India so far. 50 CJIs. How many CJIs? 50 so far. Out of these 50 Chief Justice of India, 17 belong to not a religion but a caste. Brahmins. 17. CJIs. Not judges. Forget judges. Just the Chief Justices. Till 1980, we did not have a single OBC or SC judge. Where is the diversity? We are hearing all the lecture of diversity, but there is no diversity. How is it that a select group of people only are always entering the system? Right? I know some of you will say that why is this a concern? Why if only Brahmins that they understand? Every section needs to have some kind of representative there, right? It's important because the idea is you are choosing people based on merit. It should be spread far and wide. Why do you find that merit is there only amongst these people? Why do you find that merit is there only amongst men, not women? How has that happened suddenly? And let me tell you, in our country, our left-wing liberals love to quote Ambedkar. When the time comes, they'll backtrack on that. But they love to quote Ambedkar because Ambedkar was very harsh on a lot of things. Let's quote Ambedkar only. This is what Ambedkar said, verbatim, no change made, copy paste of his speech in the Constituent Assembly. So while the discussion was going on whether we should give Chief Justice of India the veto power to appoint judges or not, this was discussed, mind you, when we were making our constitution, this was discussed. Let's read. With regard to the question of the concurrence, binding opinion of the Chief Justice, it seems to me, Ambedkar says, that those who advocate that proposition, this idea, seem to rely implicitly, inherently, both on the, very, very important, both on impartiality of the Chief Justice and the soundness of his judgment. So when you are giving this veto power to Chief Justice to appoint, you are relying on two elements, that the judge will be impartial and he will always give the best judgment. He will always choose the best person. I personally, Ambedkar says, I personally feel no doubt that the Chief Justice is a very eminent person, of course. But after all, the Chief Justice is a man with all the feelings, all the sentiments, and all the prejudices which we as common people have. CGI is also a human being with all the limitations, all the prejudices, biases, sentiments, etc. And I think Ambedkar says to allow the Chief Justice practically a veto upon the appointment of judges is really to transfer the authority to the Chief Justice, which we are not prepared to vest in the president or the government of the day. So we have no trust or faith in the government. To hell with the president. Collegium, you are correct. How did we generate this kind of idea suddenly? That collegium is okay, but others are all not fair. Somehow these five people, they will be fair. I therefore think that is also a dangerous proposition, a dangerous idea. Uh, when did we ever see the pseudo liberals or the courts quoting this? That we don't want to have this power of appointment because we want to follow Ambedkar's idea. So you will quote Ambedkar only when it is convenient for you. When it's not convenient, you sideline the statements. Selective quoting. This is completely improper. Anyway, so this is there with respect to the collegium. Uh, See, the idea behind this. One more thing. There is no need to mug up all this. It is just to know and just summarize it that even Ambedkar opposed this idea of giving veto to CGI. That's it. Simply summarizing it. You don't have to mug up all this. Not important. Sir, Patna High Court have no women judge at all. That's there in various high courts. Mega, no, not really important. I just sorry to disturb you in running class, sir, but I want to give you 5-star when I select 2-star. It's okay, star, it's okay, no problem, sir. Don't worry. You give me 2-star, 5-star, hardly matters. Ignore it. Focus here. Can we write diversity in? Yes, Pallavi, we can write diversity, but in a limited sense only. We cannot point fingers. Present facts. Ruchita, there is no report. You have to go through all the data, see all the judges, find out their caste, find out their gender, and prepare it yourself. Okay? Kavana N, now you can tell me yourself. Okay. Now we are done with our collegium. See, I have given you the pointers on challenges. Of course, one very important element with respect to this concept would be to understand that we need a balance. So you cannot simply say that let the government appoint. That may also not be correct, right? But yes, the collegium system has its challenges. So even if there is a concern, you want to write some advantages or benefits of collegium, the idea should be to actually incorporate those elements wherein the collegium says that we want to be free from the government. That's something we agree. But beyond that, in its current form, collegium is completely inappropriate for appointment. Yes, NJAC is the way forward. Okay, maybe we can remove the law minister from here. We can define who are eminent persons. That's it. I mean, CGI, veto power and all, come on. If you look at this article also, it does not say CGI has veto power. So I'm not sure how they demand a veto power. So that should be your way forward. Don't worry. You will get a question on this in your test tomorrow only, because I have put a question on this only for tomorrow's test. Okay. Now coming to the qualification of our judges. This is very simple, very easy. Of course, the last topic for the day. Article 124 clause 3. Don't run away. I'll give you a question to write as well, because you have 2 days of leave. So test plus one question from me as well. Article 124 clause 3. Qualification. Of course, the qualification, please don't say, sir, citizen. Yes, you have to be a citizen. What's the minimum age? Nothing is mentioned. What's the tenure? Nothing is mentioned. There is no minimum age. Okay, no minimum age, no tenure. Only thing that we have is what? The age of retirement. That is 65. So the qualification is you either are a judge in the High Court, at least 5 years, okay, or you are an advocate, High Court, at least 10 years. Now, before some enthusiastic person says, please hear me out. Advocate in High Court, also of course advocate in Supreme Court. It is like asking, sir, in UPSC, graduates can apply. Can postgraduates apply? Of course. So you have to be an advocate in High Court. If you are an advocate in Supreme Court, good for you. You are also eligible, of course. Or who is this person? Any idea? Innocent aspirants? No idea? So those who have no idea, it's okay. You have lost nothing in life. There's a very famous series, La Casa de Papel, Money Heist, right? A Spanish series where this was a very important character, the professor. So this is the reference to somebody who is a very eminent or distinguished jurist. Jurist is somebody who is an expert in the field of law, a legally trained mind, right? Somebody who is a champion at legal theorizing, who has vast knowledge in the field of law. That's called a jurist. It has got nothing to do with judge or jury. Are we clear? Okay. So any of the criteria is okay. Mega says it compulsory a person first be advocate then a judge. No. Or it's or. And one more final thing. The same qualification is also needed to be what? To be what? The same qualification is required to be the High Court judge? Arey nahi baba. Article 76, Attorney General of India. Attorney General. Okay. So that's it. Let's end our discussion here only. But before you run away, please write a question for which you can write an answer. Okay. Please write, pen and paper ready. I'll start dictating in 15 seconds. Tarun, I have written, sir, please. Yes, Tarun, very good. You must have written it. Amazing, great. Pula, lawyer and jurist may not be the same. Lawyer is a person with a degree in law. Nutikadi, no. Anurag, who will decide the potential of the eminent jurist? The collegium? Anuj, same thing. 10 years. Shalja, think before you write. Jurist work, Pooja, any person who is a judge in the Supreme Court. Question now. The collegium system has been a topic of extensive debate. Has been a topic of extensive debate in the Indian judicial system. In the Indian judicial system. The collegium system has been a topic of extensive debate in the Indian judicial system, Indian judicial landscape. Indian judicial landscape. Write this. Landscape. Full stop. Critically analyze the collegium system in the context of critically analyze the collegium system in the context of judicial appointments and transfers in India. Critically analyze the collegium system in the context of judicial appointments and transfers in India. Full stop. 150 words. Small question. 150 words. The collegium system has been a topic of extensive debate in the Indian judicial landscape. Full stop. Critically analyze the collegium system in the context of judicial appointments and transfers in India. 150 words. Please write the answer. Send to IS Live. Everybody. So, as we end our discussion, let me just show the leaderboard.